Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another weather forecast here by Age Weather Forecast. This is actually going to be a bit different of a topic here, as you guys can tell by the title. We actually have a potential. This is again not guaranteed. It's still decently far away. We have a potential for a tropical disturbance to possibly form in the Gulf of Mexico. As of right now, we don't have anything as of right now, but based on using the wind shear radar, all indication of all that, it looks like very likely we can possibly have an invest to form in the coming days. So it's very likely we can possibly have some tropical activity out here in the Gulf of Mexico here, very likely into part of maybe early next week, if not very late this weekend. But if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Of course, it's not guaranteed, still very far out, but this is just showing a video of showing the potential for the likelihood of seeing this, so we can just get this ahead of time, so we can get people obviously so we can spread the word a little bit about this potential system. But of course, also be sure to share the channel to any friends or family. But without further ado, let's get this video. So before you guys say anything, I'm not saying it's going to be a major hurricane. I'm not saying it's going to be a tropical storm. I'm not even saying it's going to be a tropical depression. What I'm saying is this could potentially become an invest and maybe turn into something a bit interesting. Of course, we can't say unless obviously we have the Atlantic 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook say anything about it. As you see, we have nothing in the next 5 days. Of course, we don't have any new cyclones, or we aren't expected to see anything. Very likely, maybe by tomorrow, if not tomorrow, maybe by Thursday, we have somewhat a 40% chance or something, and then we have an invest forming. I think that's potentially likely, and that's somewhat reasonable. But obviously, we can't say it's going to be a hurricane, tropical storm, or really anything as of right now. We're just showing the potential of seeing activity or something that's showing tropical resemblance. So we're going to go ahead and check out the radar here for the tropical tidbits. Showing you that's going to be now showing you the tropical Atlantic here of the early precipitation. As you can tell, we do have a little bit of a system here out here into northern Mexico and southern Texas. So it's nothing really out of the ordinary. We're just going to be seeing that precipitation moving out of these areas. But look, as we now get later, so this is actually now Saturday, May 9th. So this is going to be the area of focus. May 9th and May 10th is going to be that really big area that's going to be the time of focus, or the time period of focus. As you get later into Saturday, we do have now a potential tropical like disturbance here. As you can kind of tell, it has very large bands outside of the worst of it, which will be right here, indicating the heaviest rain, as well as possibly very large downpours. And as you can tell, it's kind of surrounded by some really smaller but still heavier rain around it. So of course, this is likely just going to be a potential tropical system, maybe an invest tropical depression. But of course, we can't exactly say what it's going to be as of right now. But as we get later into Sunday, this is now May 10th, we still have the system here moving into the Gulf of Mexico, into where we have the warmest waters. So we also have that potential. We can possibly say we could be seeing something because of the warmer waters in the Gulf of Mexico. We are going to be seeing, of course, very heavy rain very far from this. So we can be seeing this bringing rain all over. We can see this bringing rain all the way to Florida, Cuba, the Cancun area. And then it seems like it does now go past through the Florida area. It does go possibly pass into southern Florida. So really, area development will probably be the area of focus. Will probably be, in my opinion, if we have anything on the Atlantic graphical tropical weather outlook, I think this will be the area of development right here. This is where I think we could definitely be seeing something potentially forming of invest, and then possibly turning to tropical depression if it does become something. But as of right now, we can't say anything. We just have to just show what we have and just really indicate something that could happen just based on what we're looking at. We can't say what it's going to be. We can just indicate that there's going to be something that forms that's tropical like, or obviously maybe tropical cyclone, or a tropical disturbance. So as we get later, of course, Saturday, May 9th seems to be the day that we start to see this system forming. Here we have that, of course, into Texas and Texas and Mexico. Here we have that ton of precipitation, and it seems like we do have it right off the coast, though, of the border with Mexico and Texas. As we continue to move on later into Saturday, we see this becoming a lot more defined, as you can say, possibly a lot more defined of a circular like amount of precipitation here, as you can tell, somewhat like in a circle. So that's when we're seeing the potential risk out there into part of the western Gulf, and then it'll move throughout the central Gulf here, and possibly bringing rain by May 10th. Could be moving just north of the Mexico area near Cancun, and that'll continue to move through the Gulf of Mexico. And it does seem that it will possibly diminish in these areas right here. This is what the European model shows, diminishing between Cuba and Mexico, and then of course possibly continue to bring the rate over then. But really by May 12th, it seems like it does diminish in the European model, but GFS shows it now moving through Florida. So obviously we can't say, as of right now, you don't have to worry if you're in Florida. We can't say there's going to be a tropical depression landfall or a tropical storm landfall, anything like that yet. Even if we do have a defined tropical depression, for say, in the future, in this area in the next coming days, and it does look like it's going to head to Florida, of course, just take precautions. But of course, the tracks and the spaghetti models could obviously change within one update. So even if we did have that, you would really not have to, like as of right now, really prepare yet. But now as we look into the vorticity, so this is really in other words, rotation. So obviously hurricanes rotate, that's where they move. That's where obviously they rotate, and you're going to be seeing those very strong bands and all of that. So vorticity, you want to see a vorticity, but not just vorticity, like just a straight line like this. You want to see the vorticity for a tropical system or a tropical disturbance in a circular formation, because obviously hurricanes and depression and tropical disturbances are somewhat a circular formation, depending how organized it is. As we now get later to May 9th, here you have that potential vorticity. Of course, it's not extremely organized because this is still up to 4 to 5 days away. But you can definitely see a conjoining of a lot of vorticity in one circulation here into the Gulf. As you can tell, that's going to be heading throughout central Gulf. And this is what the GFS is showing. It did show moving or forming around right here, for say, maybe even right here, forming into an invest, and then potentially depression into the areas further east, and then possibly continuing to move eastward. So as of right now, it looks like Florida could possibly be, and if it does form or anything, could be in the path. But of course, we can't say as of right now because it's still days away. So if you're in Florida, please don't spread the word or panic or anything, because we don't even know if it's going to be a tropical storm or just be a bust. So that's what we're looking at here. Now we're going to go ahead and look at the wind shear, because most of you guys know wind shear takes down hurricanes. It's going to make a hurricane unorganized. Same thing what you see with thunderstorms when there's a really high amount of cap and it halts and stops the process of thunderstorms, and the shear takes it down and diminishes the threat of thunderstorms. Same thing with hurricanes here. As you see hurricanes or tropical disturbances, anything like that, wind shear does take that down. So I do apologize, someone was talking to me, but here we have that very limited wind shear here. So you're obviously going to be seeing wind shear, but very little and not as powerful really to take down or really stop the process of any tropical disturbance. And that's going to be on May 8th, the day before we possibly have that potential area of where we have this possibility for formation. By later into May 9th, here we have now this right here. You'll be seeing the potentially where we would have this. As you can tell, there's that little area of no wind shear that could possibly be indicating that potential for maybe any formation right here. As you can kind of tell, this is where we possibly see the system on the wind shear. We'll have a ton of wind shear to the north, but that won't be, as long as this thing doesn't move north, it should not really fall apart as easily or as fast. So again, I'm not saying there's going to be no wind shear, so this could possibly become a huge system. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying where we possibly would have this track, we'll have really very little wind shear where it would be moving. As right here, seems like really, if it does take a northerly turn, if it does form, then that's what will possibly run into a lot of wind shear. But of course, this is way too far out, especially to say about the wind shear. Go ahead, we're going to quickly take a look at these sea surface temperatures here. As you can tell, temperatures are extremely warm here. Very, very warm for the Gulf of Mexico. So obviously, we're going to be seeing above average temperatures here, possibly by maybe 2 degrees as here. as you can tell. So definitely be seeing a very, very warm temperature throughout the Gulf of Mexico. So this is where we possibly have the area of formation. As you can tell, it's going to be going throughout somewhat warm waters, especially where it's going to be, if it does form, where we have that area of focus for formation, there's going to be seeing very warm water. So definitely, we're not seeing that possibly for cooler water, so it doesn't look like it'll nothing will form. So this is why we're kind of showing this a bit early, and maybe a little bit of concerning in this case, because we are seeing decently warm temperatures. We're going to be seeing 80 plus degrees Fahrenheit with SST, so definitely something here. Now that we've looked at that, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Gulf to see exactly how much precipitation, and it's actually surprising how much and how easily you can see this potential system that does develop in the Gulf by looking at the amount of precipitation, exactly how much. You're going to be seeing a whole ton of precipitation out here. So as we get later into Saturday, May 9th, we have our area of focus. As you see, we're going to be seeing our most amount of precipitation in those areas with possibly 4 inches falling in these areas out there. As we continue moving the Gulf, you can just definitely see how large these bands are, and it does seem it's going to be right off the coast where we have that worst of it continuing off in May 9th. Now going to get to possibly 3.8 inches now, possibly seeing a ton of rain per hour. And as we get later on, look at this. You can kind of see the whole system just in general by looking at the amount of precipitation that is falling. You can just see it's so impressive. Possibly 4.2 inches will be falling in these areas per hour. And then it will continue to get a lot worse and progressively moving eastward. And you can see it looks like most models and most just in general, where you look at whatever, it looks like most of them do show it heading just in general to the east instead of, but of course we also have some that are showing it going to the south, but also diminishing that way. So it does look like either way, Florida will get a lot of rain in general from this. Doesn't mean necessarily can be landfall of any type. We can't say that yet, but just we're definitely be seeing a lot of rain moving to the Florida area. Of course, guys, I'm not saying it's going to be a hurricane. I'm not trying to get you guys to panic. I'm just showing you guys a heads up of this potential system that could possibly, if not very likely, maybe develop, even if it's just an invest or something like that. But of course, we don't have anything here. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I might have another video in the evening. It's going to be another surprise, and it has to do with winter. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and see you later today.